Adam Sandler wasn't at the he's the highest paid actor in the world now.
Is he?
But this was
Is he number one?
Before the movie. He's the number one, yeah.
Wow, I didn't
Not
know.
that I'm keeping track, 57 million last year. But who cares? I'm not competing with them. He's already won. But the at that time, before The Waterboy came out and did 39 million, which nobody had ever done that in a movie in October. They didn't know it was even possible. We were doing this movie, Big Daddy. And he tried to get me hired for this one role, and the studio said no. And then another one, he said, well, you're not right for that. And I said, don't worry about it. And he said, well, there's this one line in this. I said, it's a Chinese guy. He said, just come out and make something of it. Play whoever you want. So, and he said, okay, come out. And so I did, and it was supposed to be just one day. And so I'll get you paid for the day. And he said, just come back tomorrow. And I said, so I said, but I don't have any lines. I'm not in the scene. He said, we'll just figure out something. And then the next day, he just the doorbell would ring, go answer the door and come up with some lines. So he just kept putting me in stuff. I said, come back the next day. He kept me paid on a great daily rate. And he put me, and it ended up being one of the biggest roles in the movie. And I was only supposed to be there one day. And he said, come back again tomorrow. So by the second week, somebody's going, why is Rob Schneider in this for two weeks? He's only supposed to be there one day. And and so that was his way of just, taking care of me. And
so he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's just incredible. And he did it in a sneaky way, which is like
Even better.
Even better, yeah.
So did you guys meet on SNL, or how did you become friends?
I heard about him. There was this thing called Comedy USA, which is like a tiny little comedy news magazine, listen to comedy news. But and on the cover of it was Chris Rock and Adam Sandler. So I knew that those were the two guys in New York, and they were a little younger than me. And it was me and David Spade on the West Coast, and I got on David Letterman, which was a big deal if you're doing stand-up on David Letterman. I got on first. So they said, well, who's that guy? And so he knew about me. And then he came out, and his first performance when he moved to L.A. was at the Improv. And not the regular Improv, downtown, like literally like a hotel lobby. There was like a bar, and they had 40 seats, and they had like the little comedy club in there. And I went to go see him that night. And the only two people who were laughing hysterically hard was me and Adam laughing at his own joke. And then we went out and had a beer, and I said, you're going to be huge, and I guarantee it.
Did he have the big hair at the time?
Yeah, and and then we got on. I got on Saturday Night Live with David Spade, and then he got on 6 months later with Chris.
Did he start writing? I didn't realize you started as a writer.
He was a writer. That's how they suck you into the system. They get you in, and you go like, how do we get on here somehow? And they said, well, if you could write something better that you can do than other people, and it's good because they got to get young people who are willing to work 100-hour weeks, and there's only people in your 20s can do it.
So what years was that, and who were the big stars then?
89-90 season. The monsters on SNL at the time was Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, Phil Hartman,
amazing,
Dennis Miller. I mean, these were giants.
You were there during the Chris Farley years?
Yeah,
then?
Chris Farley was hired. I remember there was this very annoying person at the hotel, the Omni Berkshire, next to me when I was getting my key. And the guy next to me, and I didn't know what he looked like, but I knew there was a guy, Chris Farley, being hired. But so I didn't. And so I heard this guy next to me going, I need a smoking room because I like to smoke. And I don't want to have to pay the bill later for cleaning, blah, blah, blah. So I need the smoking room. You got to check up your little roller dinger and everything, and you'll see the name there. And I go, who's this a-hole? And he said, the name's Farley, Chris Farley. And I said, hi, Chris, I'm Rob. I'm on the show. I'll be working with you. And I said, let's go out and have dinner and talk. And I can tell you because I was there. I was such a veteran. I'd been there like 4 shows before that, so suddenly I acted like I knew something. And we went out to dinner to a place called Joe's. It was a Mexican restaurant on 53rd and 7th. And it closed shortly after that evening that Chris Farley and I ate there. I don't know if the reason was he was standing on the table after 9 shots of tequila and 9 beers, naked on the table dancing. And he wasn't he was hysterical, but he wasn't a famous, rich, fat guy naked, dancing on the table. He was just a fat guy.
Yeah, not yet.
Nobody knew who he was, and but he was still hilarious. And that was the thing about Chris was even in his outrageous behavior, it was still likable.
Yeah.
He was borderline.
Yeah, right.
And over the border, especially for that poor, unfortunate Mexican restaurant. But yeah, he was a tornado.
You know, I'll never forget, I lived in Chicago during that time, and I saw him in Chicago at a movie theater. I was going to I don't even remember what I was going to see. He'd already made Tommy Boy because I saw him and I told him that I loved it.
Yeah.
But I was going up the escalator to go to the movies, or I was going down and he was going up, whatever. And he was all by himself. And we actually wound up seeing him again a little later, and he walked into the theater by himself. And I just thought, that's sad. You know, like there's something sad about it.
I swear, that was the saddest part about me was that he died alone. And don't get me started. I'm still so brokenhearted over it. He was such a lovely guy. And you have to have people, when you're that open, you have to have people who love you, to be around you, to protect you. And, you know, and that was the sad thing about Chris, because he had so much to do. And I'm not sure if this is an urban myth, but there was a great script about Fatty Arbuckle that he would have been perfect to play, because Fatty Arbuckle was a guy who had his career ruined. He's more popular than Charlie Chaplin in the silent film era, and he was a big man, a big funny comedian. And there was a party in San Francisco where a girl died, and the yellow journalism of Randolph Hearst at the time destroyed him, and the local DA went after him. And he had nothing to do with it, it turned out. And then the first trial, he was innocent, and then they went after him again. And by this time, the second trial, you know, they never correct in the news later.
Right.
It was innocent.
Never.
It's just the salacious stuff that goes out there. You know, what they try to do to Trump, just all the salacious stuff.
Yeah.
And they hope that enough of that sticks, so that, and he never worked again, Fatty Arbuckle. And as a matter of fact, the great comedian Buster Keaton said to him, "You should change your name to Will Be Good." And so
if that gives you any good press. That would have been good for Farley. I mean, he obviously had so many struggles. Do you owe back taxes? Are your tax returns still unfiled? Did you forget to file for an extension? The October 15th deadline is fast approaching and time is running out. If you have not gathered all of your documents or made any estimated payments, you could soon be targeted by the IRS. After October 15th, the IRS can garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, or even seize your property. Oh, joy. But there's help. Don't panic. Tax Network USA, a nationwide tax firm, has helped taxpayers save more than $1 billion in tax debt. They have filed over 10,000 tax returns and assisted thousands in reducing their tax burdens, and they can help you too. Don't wait. Visit tnusa.com/Megyn or call 1-800-958-1000 for a free consultation. They will guide you through a few simple questions to determine how much you can save. Take action now before it's too late. Visit tnusa.com/Megyn or call 1-800-958-1000. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.